Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
Hello, welcome. Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing here? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
Are we going to say that? Like, it's like, if I'm the constable and I fell asleep, can't you just say, like, I was working on something else
I
or
was doing
doing
some
something?
Google searches about the area.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy a ruler real quick so I could draw.
Even that, I wanted to draw the layout of red or thing, and
Yeah.
I got to, the car didn't work, something or other. But no, he said, no, I fell back asleep.
Yeah, I
Well,
fell
do you
asleep.
want to really say that? I'd lie.
I think I'd lie too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg here with Therese Garcia.
Hello.
And today we're discussing episode 368 of the podcast. This is actually happening. What if you were the only one left to grieve? A brief. A young girl's world shatters when one night her mother's stalker, who has threatened to annihilate her family, walks into her home with a loaded gun. And full disclosure, I work for This Is Actually Happening, and T doesn't work on the show, but she's still an employed person, and she comes in fresh. And this show, Trauma/Bonded, is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. I don't think there's any levity in the story, T.
I don't think so either. That was your whole brief.
I just started using the summary from This Is Actually Happening.
Yeah, it didn't give much away. The title gives it away.
The brief is brief. T, what stuck out to you as the heart of Fallon's story?
Thank you, Elly. This one was a tough one, but I went with one word today, and that word is left.
Okay.
Yeah. She was left without her parents, left with her brothers, then left by them too, left by the system, but she was also left with memories, stories around the kitchen table, and the choice to share her story. She was left with her voice, and she chose to speak.
Poignant.
Thank you, Elly.
I guess the heart of the story for me is on the nose, as I usually am. The repeated fuck-ups of the police and the legal systems around them. Like a fuck up here, fuck up there, here's fuck, there's fuck, everywhere's fuck up, The systems that fail her family over and over again. And then, she calls out that they also failed the stalker himself. Had he not been failed, then her family would quite possibly still be here. Like, I want to hear from that constable that fell asleep. Like, does he sleep well at night now?
I'm thinking probably, because I really don't like that constable. Fell right to sleep.
I mean, we're going to get into it, but I'm bowled over by the complete lack. I mean, she says the lack of urgency, but there's also just like this, there's no gravitas of the situation, it seems like, to any of these police people that were involved or the legal system. Like the mediation attempt, like just absurd. Like, we'll get into it.
That's what's happening to your family. Would you fall right to sleep?
Yeah, it's just bizarre to me. And who has a local police chapter that closes at 2 a.m? Doesn't most crime happen after 2?
Yeah. Close at 2 p.m.
Word.
Right?
Yeah. What is the most maddening part to me about this story is it just feels like there's just all these like little clerical errors that have big impacts. All of these little errors or little fuck ups, they all led to the catastrophic annihilation of her entire family. That talk about a ripple of water and the effects that one stone has on a lake. I do love that, the kitchen table is where the family gathers, and I love that, and I hate it that I don't have a proper kitchen table. In fact, my kitchen table has been moved outside to my patio for, like, workstation for planting, and I just have an empty dining room right now, and it makes me so sad because all I've ever wanted, more than a couch, more than a chair, more than a television, is like a sturdy, inviting kitchen table with appropriate, sturdy, welcoming chairs. I also believe that the place to be and hold community with your friends and family is around a kitchen table. I love working at a kitchen table. I love watching TV at a kitchen table. Like, I'm just so about a kitchen table, and I'm really sad that I don't have one. And I keep not getting one because, is this interesting? Is anyone interested in this?
No, a lot happens at a kitchen table. I'm just thinking of like, fast forward video, like people swapping stories, working, doing all things, playing cards,
Yeah.
right? I imagine people playing euchre or
It's
whatever.
such a central place for community, and I've recognized that for a long time, and I keep buying ones that don't fit the bill. And so, I'm now currently without one because Scott says that the one in his family home is one that we would really like to have, but who knows when I'm getting a hold of that thing, you know?
So far away. What you use for Christmas Eve? Because that was a big table.
I linked up the table that I've since put out on the patio with a ping pong table that my sister got me for Christmas.
I've had dinner around a ping pong table. That's pretty good.
Oh, I've considered putting the ping pong table out and then simultaneously using it as a dinner table, but it's not what I want. I want a sturdy, like our friend Nate, friend of the show, maker of our music, that's the voice you hear in the song. When he bought a house in Detroit, the first thing he did was have, like, a kitchen table made, and it's like a nice, heavy, thick, like, important, like, sturdy table. Like, it
And you'd
take,
have
like,
a
4 men to move it in there, like, you gotta move it out in pieces, it's important. I think it's important to have a solid kitchen. You guys have good, solid tables in your house. I appreciate that. I want that.
there's a lot of stuff going on at our table. Yeah, eat at that table. Legos are going on at that table. A lot of spills at that table.
There's just so much love and fun that happens around a table, a family's kitchen table. So this town bully has an unhealthy interest in Fallon's mother. Did you think when she told him over the phone that she threw his cake away, that just, like, made him more interested? I'm not trying to indict the dead at all, but you know how these dudes are. It's like a feeding don't feed the trolls, but in, like,
Yeah.
the real life sense. He probably got off the phone with her and thought, "Oh, she's playing hard to get. Isn't she spicy?"
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get in the mind of
Yeah.
a psycho.
He probably could twist it any way he wanted, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there was probably no response that would have kept him away. I mean, he had a mission and he carried it out. All of the little fuck ups and failures by the systems around them are just really completely egregious.
They did everything they could.
They really tried, including this letter that lands on a family attorney's desk, and they tried to opt for mediation with this guy. "Hey, don't kill people." "Okay. What?" "Excuse me, Mr. Bully Man. This family would like you to leave their mother alone." And he says, "Well, okay, but I want Wednesday and Friday." And they're like, "No, that's not how this works." Like, what isn't that a mediation is sort of like compromises and discussions, and how are you gonna reason with this guy?
Are they
It's a
being so flippant because
It's just absurd
being
from the
racist
jump.
about it? Is that what's happening?
I can't even tell. Like, it it feels like the telling of this portion of the story, like, flew by too much. Like, I needed more context as to why it was handled so poorly. Especially, like, once okay, yeah, fine, the letter lands on a family attorney's desk, but then why isn't anyone telling that person to stand down or to put it on the right person's desk? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think the worst part of this intended or perceived mediation is it gives him legal access to her. It's putting her across the table from him, and I think it's fucking sad that they lost their lives, but it was probably the right decision to didn't to reject the notion, to not show up, because why would I willingly give you access to me in a legal manner, in a legal setting?
Yeah, usually you're supposed to have more space between you when there's a stalker, right?
I would think so.
I'll
Like the
get you closer
yeah,
to each other. Let's sit across from each other
and talk it out.
at a kitchen table. Let's be community with each
Yeah.
other. No.
Okay, so you're stalking me, let's stop that. Okay, like, I just don't understand how the conversation would even go. It's absurd.
Because there's no consequences. It's like, let's just negotiate.
Yes, and it's like they're validating that he has a right to his point of view.
He has a right to her. Yeah, it was a good decision not to go.
But it pissed him off.
Yeah.
And because the court didn't give him legal access to her, he shows up at the house with a 22. I mean, it's clear that Fallon has told the story numerous times, and she includes like an amazing amount of detail that we don't need to rehash here. I think the thing to talk about here is how completely inept the police were in this situation.
Did a lot of episodes about this, unfortunately.
I do feel like we've talked about this before.
Quite a few.
So the police know gunshots have happened. The family's with the stalker who is on record a threat to the family.
I think they know that there's a hostage situation.
I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
The older brother has escaped, and he's a credible witness to
Yeah.
what he's seen,
Yeah.
to them being held hostage.
Yes.
Okay, so
They know these things.
right, warrants police, right?
Yeah.
You think so infuriating.
So what do we do?
Well, the local police department's closed. It's 2 a.m. Go home, boys. Nothing else is happening here tonight. The cop that's on call is also the town's hostage negotiator, but apparently he was tie-tie and he fell back asleep. Again, is this rooted in racism? I don't feel like we were given enough context to know if that is the case.
How do we know that, by the way? Like, it's like,
Like, did he admit it?
like, it's almost like, are we proud of that? Are we going to say that?
Yeah.
Good on ya, constable.
At some point, he admitted that out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, this description of events is just completely bonkers to me. So the cops take forever to get there because they have to go get their cars and their gear and
There's
their,
logistics.
and their
yeah.
outfits. And they even call the house, like, "Are you guys still in crisis?" And the mom's like, trying to send signals to her voice, like, yeah, is he with you there now? Yes. Is anyone dead? I don't know. And they're like, just stay tight. Help is on the way. And what time
We'll
is
be
it?
there in 5 hours. So,
Dude.
actually, we're going to be there, but just up front. It's going to be as if we're not there, but we'll be there.
In spirit.
Yeah, we'll be in front of the house. Yeah.
You know what this reminded me of? Did you ever see that documentary on HBO called the Cheshire Murders? It was this affluent town in, I believe it was Connecticut. I think it's Cheshire, Connecticut. I watched the documentary many times because it's so gruesome and upsetting that I can't not watch it. Like,
What?
I'm attracted
do
to
that?
gruesome, upsetting things. I don't know why. Long story short, there's a home invasion. The family is kind of held hostage. The police are aware of it, and they show up and then just sit outside for hours whilst terrible things are happening inside the house.
Is that a strategy?
It's insane.
I feel like there's other ways.
Well, it also reminded me of what happened at Uvalde, like in Texas, with that school shooting, with the police afraid to enter the school. And meanwhile, more people are being shot. Like, if not the police, then who? I mean,
Well,
what y'all waiting
parents
for?
are gonna go in.
What y'all waiting for? I mean, if you listen to this timeline, the first call to police was 2:30 in the morning, right? That was the first time they were actually contacted. They didn't enter the house until everyone was dead at 8:30 AM.
Yeah,
That's fucked.
yeah.
How many times were they called? Now, I understand the additional trauma that her older brother felt because he escaped, and so he carries with him this intense survivor's guilt. Can you imagine escaping and calling the police again and them still not coming, and you're just out there going, "What's going on? Should I have stayed? Should I have tried to battle inside the house?"
Yeah.
Just waiting, waiting, waiting. I can't imagine a more helpless position to be in, and then to carry that guilt with you for years and years and years. The what if, what if, what if, what if.
And being the oldest brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really awful. The stalker commits suicide in her bedroom. Yeah, you're never going back to that home again. 6.5 hours from the first phone call until the police enter the home. It's just so unbelievably egregious. I can't get over it.
What are they? Are they still there? Are they working there? This is a long time ago now, I guess. More than 30 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, all those cowards are dead, I'm sure. Let's talk about so at the funeral, she sees her aunt hug the stalker's mom, and she was
What's
really
that
upset
about?
about that. What do you think about that?
What's that about? Is this the same aunt, by the way, that took the insurance money?
Oh, shit. I don't even know.
I just thought about that.
Ugh. That's the thing, like, parents have bad kids that do bad things.
Yeah, we don't know what their relationship was.
You have a heart for even the parents of the most horrible monsters. They've still lost someone and had to face the truth about what their kid was like. I don't know. But as a 9-year-old watching it, I can
It's
see why
very
she would,
confusing.
yeah. And then that little detail about how her mom was wearing a dress she didn't recognize, that was so completely sad to me, and I can imagine it. Like, I can imagine it from a 9-year-old's perspective. Like, my mom doesn't wear that. Like, where did that come from? I can see how that would be really like a detail that would stick with you. What did you think about so she had to start school in another town, and it sounded like it was maybe less indigenous than where she come from? They were saying like, "Aren't you half Indian?" And she said, "No, I'm not half anything. Like, I am indigenous." Like, what did you think about her take on that whole thing?
I think she identified with her dad's side. I mean, that's how she grew up, right?
Yeah.
And she kind of longed to be there. When she had to move out of that community, she hated it. And then, of course, when everybody's kind of pointing her out and treating her like she's different and all these things, it's just like the worst. So to be othered like that, it's like, no, I am. I'm gonna own it even more. So fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home. You know,
Yeah.
I hated that, but good on her.
Do you think she's gonna do much damage with this butter knife for protection?
I don't know. I think she probably just feels more safe. I guess.
Yeah, you're probably right. And she really wanted to go back home. Despite the heartache that she experienced there, she really wanted to go home. Would you want to?
I guess like the only thing she knows. I mean, one of the times she feels she actually gets choked up is when she talks about
Sheena.
Sheena, her best friend. Like she kept asking for her, and
Dude, your best friend at 9 years old is
yeah,
so
such a
hardcore.
person.
That is so hardcore best friend.
Yeah, and yeah, she says like that was the only place she'd ever known.
I know, but it's also a place where she experienced so much loss. It seems really difficult to think about wanting to be back there, but I mean, I guess at 9, you still just wanna be with what you find familiar. So cut to September 2021, her older brother, Carson, right?
Yeah.
He's married, he has kids. He's always faced depression. Again, I'm sure he carried guilt with him from that night. It's like Fallon intuits. Like like she's faced so much loss, this woman. Like she knows something has gone wrong. She's got all these missed calls on her phone, and she finally finds out that he's taken his own life. She talks about when she's in fight or flight, she doesn't wanna be touched or consoled because she has to feel it. I mean, I think that's a real thing, like, sometimes you don't wanna be touched or consoled because you wanna feel all of the pain that you're feeling. What do you think about that, T?
Why are you coming at me?
'Cause there's no one else to come
Are
at.
you asking me?
I'm asking you.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Why can't you spell Indigenous?
So when she loses her older brother, she talks about how it's losing a part of her, and she points out the lack of mental health support that he had. And I mean, like the traumas that he must have had just from witnessing what he did and escaping what he escaped. And she lovely says about him, she starts to make sort of a judgment around him taking his own life, but then she stops herself, and she characterized it as what, T?
Well, one thing she says, she kind of it's this weird comparison actually. She mentions that this death was much harder for her than her parents' death
Yes.
because someone took them from away from that, right? But he left them,
Mm.
right? But he left because he needed to. What'd you think of that, Ellie?
I think that it's a really kind way, it's a really graceful, kind, loving way to accept that he needed to do what he needed to do. No one wants to continue living because they're doing it for other people. If that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. And I think it's full of love and full of grace that she can see it that way instead of being mad at him for leaving them. What about you, T?
I'd agree with you, Ellie. I mean, I think she gives him grace in that way, even though it's such a big loss for her and it's tough for her. It's harder for her than her parents' death, as she says.
And she talks about seeing this woman walking her dog, and she thinks, "This bitch doesn't even know what I'm going through." And that realization that the world keeps turning no matter how much loss you face is comforting to her. I think it's also, at the same time, kind of disturbing to think about, like, wow, like, this huge loss is happening in my world. My world is crumbling, but the rest of everyone I see around me is just living another day in their life. They're not even aware of the pain that I'm facing. But she says that it did something positive for her because it made her realize that she had to keep marching on, that life goes on.
And it's cool, she didn't say, "This bitch had no idea what was going on." She didn't use that word "bitch." What's nice is about her is that she wasn't angry with this bitch, She really No, what I'm saying is she it's really cool that she was able to see somebody else's perspective even and just kind of be like, "Oh," like somebody else she's not just in her own head, she's seeing other people and other people's lives, and she can be like, you know, "The world is still turning, something else is happening," and it kind of puts us it's like a switch for her, helps her out.
And for the record, I say everything is this bitch or that bitch over here. I was doing a pre-interview today with a man. This is actually
Bit
no, but I did start to go, girl. Like I've just all of my I don't know, slang intros to people I've feminized, so everything's either bitch or girl, no matter who you are. And it's like started to cross over into like when I'm talking to men that I don't even have like that, I don't know, close of a relationship with. Like there is this impetus in me to just go, girl. And I don't mean it has nothing to do with gender. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just like a way of speaking. Same with bitch. Girl.
Thank you for that clarification, Ellie. We needed that.
Did you hear Fallon talk about going to therapy herself? I didn't really feel like we heard her talk about going to any kind of counseling or talk therapy.
I didn't. Did you, when you talked with, did you talk with her?
Yeah, I did, and it's not something that we actually talked about, but it doesn't. Usually we hear kind of bits about that in the episode, and I didn't hear anything about it. Fallon has a son named Carmine. What did you think about the name Carmine? It makes me think of Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, is there a Carmine and
Carmine Ragusa. He was Shirley's boyfriend, Carmine.
it's a bit maybe early for me. I don't know. I haven't.
You didn't watch Laverne and Shirley?
No, I'm having a flashback to like a.
Shamizel, Shamazel.
What are you-
Awesome stuff for Incorporated. We're gonna do it.
Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. Nothing's gonna turn us back now. Straight ahead and on the track now.
We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way.
Okay. I see a conveyor belt. Is there? Okay, yeah.
They worked at the Pabst factory in Wisconsin.
Pabst.
Pabst Blue Ribbon beer.
Oh, Pabst. Okay. sorry.
Pabst.
Pabst. That's what I said. I thought.
I know. Anywho, so, I do think, though, that part of Fallon's healing really came in the work that she does around missing and murdered Indigenous women, which is a cause that we've talked about on the show a few times now. This discrimination and racism through all the systems of justice, including, the general, like, you committed genocide against Native peoples. And her aha moment was pointing out that she's the girl, she's one of these girls that she's been fighting for, and it's important that she tells 9-year-old Fallon's story. And I thought that was really, really powerful. And she really wants to acknowledge the loss of her childhood and the loss of the adult that she might have been, that version of adult that she might have been had she not gone through this sort of trauma. But overall, she just wants her family's story to be part of the way of telling these stories. And then later on, we hear another tragedy around her younger brother, Clinton. And she recognizes it early. She sees that he's become a shell of himself, even though he's held on for many years. And he also takes his life. And she's now the only one left in their family. But she says that life will go on. And she's upset that she doesn't get to say goodbye on her own terms. And it's disturbing to her that they won't ever grieve her, that she's had to do all this grieving on her own. What do you think about that, T?
It's hard. That's a hard one. I was thinking about it when she said that, and I feel like, I mean, it's her experience, but I wonder if they were grieving her, because they knew that they were doing that.
Yeah, that's poignant. When she turns 38, she's outlived all of the people in her family.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And
So young.
it's really young. And she wants to shift this situation from a negative to a positive. So she starts this GoFundMe. It's for a transitional home for Indigenous women. She's a speaker and an advocate. She's found a home within herself and continues to find healing for her 9-year-old self.
You're kind of speeding through it a little bit. I'm just saying, I was surprised that her GoFundMe was $3,800. I was like, that's pretty low.
What? Oh, that
That her goal was
Original.
her original goal was 3,800. When she said that, I was like, I don't know, that's pretty low, Fallon. Let's up it a little bit.
lowered expectations. You can only go up.
I wasn't surprised that it was going to go a bit higher than that.
Yeah, me neither.
But when it was hitting up the 100 grand, I was like, okay, this is getting crazy. But great job, Sam.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I do love how she says she wants to continue to find healing for her 9-year-old self and stop whatever cycles might be trying to wield themselves so that her children can just be and they don't have to experience anything that she has. And it was so poignant when she talks about how the little girl in her wants to keep talking about her family and brings back this concept again about the kitchen table. This is where light gets shown in dark places. This is where community happens. This is where change happens. I think she's really speaking to how much power there is in storytelling. And we get that. We get that completely. And I think the way that they ended the episode was really poignant. Now that you've heard my story, what will you do with it? T, now that you've heard Fallon's story, what will you do with it? It's a great question. I think we're gonna keep doing what we do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the power of storytelling, that's a real thing. I remember taking a documentary class at Berkeley, and we watched this movie called Hearts and Minds, and it's this old documentary from the 60s, and it's about the Vietnam War. And the point of it is that through storytelling, that is how you change hearts and minds. And I believed it then, and I continue to believe it now. And I feel endlessly, I don't know if proud is the right word, honor. I feel honored to get to work in a space where people telling their story is what is changing hearts and minds, including Fallon.
That's good, Elly.
Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show or podcasts are kept. Please rate and review us. Thanks to Fallon for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to the This Is Actually Happening team, including Whit, Missildine, and Andrew Waits, and the maker of our music and website, Nathaniel Trimboli. And thanks to Cathy Sitzes for editing this episode. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can contact us at our Gmail and find us on it's all in the show notes, y'all. We are trauma bonded to the story, to the storyteller, to the listeners, and to each other. Thanks for spending time with us today. Love you, T.
Love you, Elly. Good job. Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you. Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Trauma bonded.